So one of the big arguments against conspiracy theories from people that think conspiracy theorists are crazy weirdos is that humans love to talk and gossip and write stuff down and keep diaries and brag when they get drunk in bars. So that kind of implies that it's hard to keep it secret that aliens came and shot JFK in the head or that we faked the moon landing, because by now somebody would have talked, especially when you have newspapers that would pay a guy $100,000 for his story about how he contacted the aliens that gave him the space rifle to shoot JFK because JFK was the lizard man. However, when the conspiracy happened 400 years ago, you can maybe kind of buy that no one told, because I don't think anybody knew how to write, and gossip from 400 years ago is hard to remember because it happened 400 years ago. That being said, the conspiracy that's at the heart of Roland Emmerich's new Shakespeare film, Anonymous, is ridiculous. It's based on the fringe kind of theory that Shakespeare wasn't Shakespeare, that he was a dupe, that his plays were written by someone else who couldn't reveal their identity, so used him as a witting stooge and gave him all the glory so that their identity can be preserved. And in this case, the identity of the true author of Shakespeare plays is person about court Sir Edward de Vere, who was the lover of the Queen but was exiled, but wanted to control the political currents and nature of the time through his writings, so picked William Shakespeare, a drunk idiot actor, to pretend to be the author of his plays so that he could influence the Queen from a distance and try and guide the direction of the politics of England. The whole thing's completely silly. It's a tear-filled tragedy that convolutes even further and even sillier into a tear-filled Greek tragedy as the plot kind of twists in and on itself and gets crazier and crazier and goofier and goofier. There's a couple of okay performances, but by and large, it's super melodramatic. One guy says at one point, "I bid you adieu," and then kind of pulls a cape across his face and leaves. It's super melodramatic, and everything is in like Mount Everest high dudgeon mode. And the problem, of course, when you're making a film about an actual artist to the soul of the age like William Shakespeare, is every time you present some of his works in your work about his works, you're showing the work of a master in your work that's not by a master. So you keep being reminded of this feeling where you just think, man, I just wish I was watching a Shakespeare play instead. Like when they're mounting a Shakespeare play within the movie about Shakespeare, every time they stop, they come back and show the people scheming and going, you're like, oh Christ, I wish they would just show Richard III. So that's what you should watch instead. There's two really good movie adaptations of Richard III. One by Laurence Olivier from 1955, which is like the classic Shakespeare movie, which if you haven't seen, you should. There's another one too, which stars Ian McKellen, which was made in 1995, which replaces the whole thing in kind of pseudo-fascist 1930s England. It's super underrated. It's really cool. And they're both absolutely worth checking out. Much more so than Emmerich's weird digital effect-filled super crybaby Greek tragedy, Anonymous.